Hey all you cool cats and kittens, welcome to Social Sciences TV for Newlands College. Today we are going to look at part 2 of the budgeting assessment for Year 9 Social Studies. So in the last video what we did was we have a situation, we've got two parents and two kids and they are living off $1,150 a week and they've got a bunch of expenses and you made a meal plan for them and you have produced a grocery list and a budget. Just want to get a wee bit of feedback from that last video and a couple of questions. So first of all, last time I made a wee mistake. I put in the internet cost for the entire month of $60. Of course, we're doing a weekly budget, so I need to take that $60 and divide it by 4 to get the weekly amount, so that will turn that number into 15. So here is a budget that I've sort of raced through and made. You have to make your own, but I have played around with this and got some rough numbers. And so another question that I got was, how do we find the cost of clothing? So if we zoom on through here, we can see there that the family allows for clothing costs of $2,500 a year. So I've put in for clothing there $2,500. I divided that by 52 because you take a year cost and divide it by 52 will give you your weekly cost. So there I've got $48 a week. Then the next question was, how do we find the cost of car payments? Now this one's a trickier one. So here we have a family would like to take out a car loan of $8,000 and you need to work out the costs of doing that, and you want to pay it off over 1 year and you're paying 13% interest. So the way that you work that out is you'd take your $8,000 and add 13% to that. So take $8,000 times it by 1.13, we'll add 13% to it, and then divide that amount by 52, and you'll end up the cost per week of paying off that car. And in terms of the car costs, it says here that the car has a car costs are running of $100 a week, and you need to find out warrant of fitness and registration on top of that. You need to find out how much warrant of fitness costs. Tends to be about $80, and depending on the car, registration costs somewhere around, I don't know, I'm going to say $200, $300 for the year. Divide that by 52 and you end up with, I don't know, 8 or something like that. Anyway, you've got a number here and it adds up to this amount or something, whatever amount you've come up with. And so the next part of the assessment is asking us to produce a report, and you need to make suggestions of possible changes to save money to get out of the deficit. So what you can see with my budget here is that I've got income of $1,150, I've got expenses of $1,383.30, and so I'm actually losing $233.30 a week. So if we can't increase our income, then we actually need to go through and start cutting things out of our expenses to try and reduce the cost of that. So how do we do that? So you've got to make 4 recommended changes. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate this budget, just clicking on the down arrow beside the budget there and duplicate it. And this is going to be my revised budget here. So I've got the original budget here, this is the revised one. I'm going to change some things on this. So for instance, Lotto is a waste of money, so that's gone. And the next thing I'm going to take out, even though it's really nice to give it to a charity, if you can't afford to give it to a charity, you probably shouldn't give it to a charity. So I'm going to take that out. I still need to find $200. My food budget came in at $230. Maybe I could trim that a little bit by having less caviar and champagne. Perhaps I could cut that down a wee bit. Maybe the biggest expense I've got here, of course, is rent. So maybe I should have tried to find a cheaper place to rent, which would bring down the cost of what I'm doing. Another thing I could try to look at here is the cost of a newspaper. I could just read all my news online, so we could take that down to zero. But you can still see here that we still need to save a bit of money. Maybe the car payment, maybe rather than paying it off over 1 year, I could pay it off over a couple of years, and that might reduce the cost of that. That might take it maybe down to closer to $100. I'd have to do the calculations. And if I found a house which was only, let's say $530 a week, it might not be as nice as the one I found. Suddenly I'm now down to making $7.70 a week rather than losing $200 and something a week. So those are the things that you need to think about, and you need to make some changes, and you need to recommend why you would change them. So why is Lotto a waste of money? How you could manage to live in a cheaper house. Those are the things that you need to look at here about ways that you can save some money. So that is, in fact, the revised budget. What this one here is the revised budget. I'm going to rename that and call this one revised budget. And so that's task 5. And then task 6, provide evidence of your research. Well, that's all the links that you've come up with, and you've stuck them in here. So you've actually already done that. That's the assessment. All over. Well done. Hand it in. That's pretty much it. So thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your day.